Hey everyone, it's Alana from Cloth Nappy Workshops Melbourne here. My husband and I and our two kids, we've been living a minimalist and low waste lifestyle for a few years now. And in that time, as you can imagine, friends and family have asked us, how did you start that? How did you go from, regular kind of mainstream consumption and buying habits and waste to landfill habits, and how did you start that? How did you make the transition? And really, I want to share those tips with you today. How do you start? How do you begin your low waste lifestyle? So for us, we started with a bin audit, which is essentially looking at your, say, kitchen bin or your bathroom bin, or in our case, our recycling tub, and just looking at it objectively as to what we were putting in there pretty regularly. So what were the common items that we were throwing away each week? And it gave us a bit of a task list or an aim as to which, topics or categories we could really target and make a switch to either reusable alternatives or just stopping them coming into our house to start with by changing our buying habits. So with the landfill bin, for example, in our kitchen, our bin was very full of cling wrap and paper towel. They were our two main topics where it represented quite a lot of what was going in the bin, as well as food waste. So, vegetable scraps and peelings that I couldn't use for stock, so other items, I would end up throwing them in our landfill bin as well. So with that, we made a start. So we decided to get a compost bin and start diverting our food scrap and food waste from going into the bin to going into our compost bin. And that meant that we could reuse it. Essentially, the compost bin would do amazing things to our leftover food and turn it into something that our garden would really benefit from and make our soil better. So that took out a huge chunk of what was going in the bin. And then after that, we focused on single-use items that we were throwing out. So definitely the cling wrap was a big one, and same with paper towel. We also did an audit of our recycling bin to look at what we had, what we were putting in there a lot, as to whether we could swap items. So go from items that are recyclable to buying food loose and without packaging. So we would use our own containers and buy our seeds and nuts and flowers and things with our own containers in bulk stores. And that would eliminate the need to recycle the box later because it didn't come in a box. And same with plastic bottles. So we noticed we had a bit of a habit with mineral water or bubble carbonated water. So we decided to swap to a machine that makes your own carbonated water. And that meant that, yes, recycling is good, but ideally reducing the amount of items that even need to be recycled is also really good. So we stopped having plastic bottles in our recycling that we then had to dispose of or recycle. So I definitely recommend starting with a bin audit. And you might find similar results in your bathroom. You might find things like makeup removal wipes featuring heavily in your bathroom bin, or maybe disposable menstrual products might be in there, and you might want to look at reusable alternatives. So that's the next step, is first identifying what are your key topics that you might want to swap out or reduce. And then the next bit is picking one that you think you can target and focus on and gradually make that swap. So we started with paper towel. And whilst we didn't go for a reusable version like this that is gorgeous, we ended up with another alternative. It was just still fabric though. And that reduced our paper towel going into the bin. And that felt really good. We felt under control and that we had made a positive change. And then we moved on to cling wrap and so on and so forth until pretty much we were not throwing out anything. Really minimal things, maybe just some bones and some other scraps that couldn't go in the compost bin. But other than that, we did really well. So moved on to the bathroom, and then looked at things like reusable makeup wipes, reusable menstrual products, things that we could, or that I could make a change with, and little by little, room by room, or topic by topic, swapped things over. So take it slowly, gradually, make sure it fits into your lifestyle and your start to form new habits, and then make another swap. So you're not trying to do a huge transition all in one go. I don't know how sustainable that would be in terms of a lifestyle swap. It is much easier just to go gradually into these things. And then if you can, reduce the temptation to buy new things so you can be low waste. It is a little bit counterintuitive. You might find you already have containers at hand that you can use for storing your bulk food purchases, for example, rather than having to buy a whole lot of matching items. You might be able to use jars, like clean the jars rather than recycling them instead. So you can reuse those jars that you've already have come into your home. So it is a great idea to look at what you already have, get the most out of what you already have. And then, of course, if you feel like you need to, say, purchase a reusable coffee cup, because that will help you avoid disposable coffee cup waste, then yes, that makes sense to do that swap and make that purchase. So yeah, I think just consider what you already have, see what you can make do with, and try and eliminate those single-use items. And if you do have the space and the budget to buy in bulk, that is a really good way of reducing the waste associated with packaging in your home. It makes it so much easier to not have to recycle anything because you've already, you've stopped it coming into your home. Yeah, it is a nice option if you've got access to a store like that. But then if not, you might find another topic you want to focus on instead. Okay, I hope that was helpful for you. It certainly did take us time to make this transition. It wasn't overnight, but I think how gradual it was very helpful, that we did the audit to find out what we should target on the most, like focus on, make those gradual swaps. To a point, then we started to tackle more, substantial items, that things like reducing what you're buying from just clothes or makeup products or things like that. So it did lead us to things like buy nothing months, where aside from food and necessity items, we weren't buying anything else. So no products for ourselves or the kids, and instead borrowing from other people, or just going without because we felt like it was an impulse thing. And once we took a step back, realized it was something we really didn't need. So I hope that helps.